Yo, what's going on guys, it's Cynical and welcome back to another video. Today for you guys, we are going to be talking about a whole buttload of Kingdom Hearts Missing Link information to give you guys a better idea as to exactly what this game is all about. There's been a lot of stuff said by Tetsuya Nomura at the actual 20th anniversary event, as well as some further information that was talked about within that Famitsu interview, where we also got some Kingdom Hearts 4 goodness too. Yeah, I'm really excited for this. Honestly, it's kind of insane that I'm excited for a Kingdom Hearts mobile phone game. Just given that the history towards Kingdom Hearts games on mobile phones haven't really been all that great, to be honest. But this is kind of looking like a traditional Kingdom Hearts experience, for the most part. Aside from the augmented reality side of the whole real-life aspect of the game. But there is some good news in the mix here towards that whole aspect for those of you who are a little bit worried about that, because I know it turns a lot of people off when it comes to the whole augmented reality side of things. Not everyone's into these types of games, honestly, myself included, but that aspect of it I'm kind of looking forward to, especially for the content side of things. I cannot wait to kind of integrate the whole Kingdom Hearts and vlog stuff into one. I think we're going to get some really funny, entertaining content out of that. We'll start with everything that he talked about to give us more insight from the 20th anniversary event. So, the first thing here, Nomura started working on Missing Link before Union Cross concluded. So Union Cross ended up concluding last year, so I'm assuming this means that the development of Missing Link probably started somewhere around the start of last year, meaning that it's probably been in development for a little over a year as of right now. We do know that we are getting some kind of beta test that will be happening sometime towards the end of this year, meaning that I would say full release should hopefully be happening, I don't know, maybe March of next year or halfway throughout next year. By that point, maybe like 2.5 years development time, which I think is plenty for a mobile phone game. Next up has action like in the mainline series, so we can clearly see this from the gameplay segments in the trailer. It seems like it's using a lot of Kingdom Hearts 3's DNA in the way of assets and animations. Yeah, this is probably what gets me the most excited about this game, is that it sort of somewhat resembles what Kingdom Hearts gameplay is, and it's not like what we've had previously with Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key, Union Cross, Dark Road, with the whole 2D chibi type stuff with the very, I don't know, tedious, mind-numbing gameplay. I just really couldn't get into the gameplay side of Union Cross. I was really only there for the story. One thing I'm really crossing my fingers for though is controller support. I know this is not practical for the real-world aspect of going out into the streets and finding the Heartless, but for while you're at home, yeah, I really want this to be a thing, just so that it really can truly feel like a proper Kingdom Hearts experience. Supports battles with up to 6 players, so yeah, this is going to be multiplayer, our first proper fully fledged multiplayer Kingdom Hearts title, which is kind of neat. Union Cross did have multiplayer, but I don't know, it's just not the same. With up to 6 players, so that's pretty cool. We did actually get to see some gameplay in the trailer of the player character fighting a Darkseid with a bunch of other players. Union Cross's multiplayer wasn't really true multiplayer per se, but it revolved around participating in raid bosses, kind of similar to what we've seen here in the gameplay with the players versing a Darkseid boss. There was also the Colosseum mode, wasn't really a true PvP mode, in all honesty. This multiplayer here looks real-time, which really excites me. That's why I'm saying this is more full-fledged in the sense of a Kingdom Hearts multiplayer experience. I don't know how this is going to work in the sense of, like, is it only boss fights that you can participate with your friends in, or is it all combat areas, like the simple encounters? So, as an example, can you go out into the streets with your friend who also has Missing Link, and because you're partied up, let's say, you both engage in that exact same combat situation? I really hope so. However though, I think it is important that the multiplayer side isn't just locked behind the real world side of having to physically meet up, and that there is an option to be able to play with your buddies online as well for people that are located on the other side of the world. The screen can be viewed in portrait or landscape mode. We also see this in the trailer. The gameplay starts off in portrait and then switches to landscape. thank God for that. Set during a blank time period between Union Cross and Dark Road. Yeah, so there is obviously quite a gap between everything that happens in Union Cross to the beginning events of Dark Road. Union Cross, with the way that it concluded, especially with the player character, kind of time skips all the way to the beginning events of Dark Road, showing us that indeed the player character from Union Cross does reside within the heart of Xehanort, almost seen upon as a sort of reincarnation, the player character being Xehanort. We'll get more information actually towards the whole player character being that reincarnation thing towards Xehanort in the finale of Dark Road coming out August of this year, but there's obviously a lot of time that is left blank that is currently unknown between the events of Union Cross to Dark Road. Missing Link is going to fill that in. A story that connects all of the mysteries up to now. So yeah, again, following on from that whole thing, I'm looking forward to this to see, you know, exactly what ended up happening to Ephemer, what ended up happening to Skuld, everyone else in the sense of what sort of time era did Luarium end up in. The Brain Luxu stuff is very, very intriguing on top of what is actually going on with Brain as of right now too, and what he'll be getting up to within the city of Scarlet and Kylan. We'll likely also get some further development for the Foretellers as well. I'm always interested to learn specifically more about the Master of Masters, and stuff to do with Luxu is always more interesting. We know at least some version of Luxu is in Missing Link, so that's all to look forward to. We also have a mysterious new character, Sigurd, who seems to be helping out the High Society of Scarlet and Kylan, which, yeah, I guess he's going to be in Kingdom Hearts 4. We got the confirmation that he's the narrator in Kingdom Hearts 4, as well as in the Missing Link trailer, so very interesting. Again, this is going to be another one of those essential Kingdom Hearts games to understand the story that is coming, especially in Kingdom Hearts 4. Nomura, previously around the time of Key and Unchained Key in the beginning, did mention you don't really need to play specifically those games in order to understand stuff that's going on in the mainline series. Absolute nonsense. I think at first, like with the way that the story was initially planned by Nomura, it was kind of unraveling in a sense of like, okay, it's not overly too important, but I'll put in some like details here and there. And then just as he continued to write the story of the Key saga, the Key arc, things just got more and more and more relevant to the future of Kingdom Hearts and the mainline series. So at this point, do not think that just because it's a mobile phone game, it's not important. You will have to play Missing Link in order to understand what is going to happen in the future, especially if you want to know everything that's happening in Kingdom Hearts 4 and in this new Lost Master arc. They go on to explain some keywords for Missing Link: the multi-layered city of Scarlet and Kylan, Founder Ephemer, Secret Society of Keyblade Wielders. Everything is connected. The everything is connected thing appears at the beginning of the trailer. I think this is referring to the fact of like how all of the different characters that have appeared throughout Union Cross and everything that will transpire in Missing Link will again later on refer to everything that happens in the future of Kingdom Hearts, especially with this new upcoming arc. You know, I felt like there had to be some sort of retconning type stuff going on within the Key arc, due to the fact that there was already an established story, so pretty much integrating things into that story so that it makes sense for things that are happening in the console games. But now that we're past the Darkseeker saga with Xehanort, Nomura certainly has more creative freedom when it comes to the story, and so he is no doubt going to be connecting a lot of what happens in Missing Link and things that have already been explained to us in the Key arc and saga within the future. Again, I am reiterating the fact, play the mobile phone games, or at least make sure to catch the cutscenes on YouTube. But seeing multi-layered city of Scarlet and Kylan, we're going to be getting more information towards Scarlet. That gets me super excited. Founder Ephemer, yes, Nomura has previously mentioned, like we have talked about, that there is going to be more Ephemer involvement in Missing Link. Again though, we don't know whether he's alive or if he's passed on. I'm assuming passed on. We'll learn more about him though, and everything that he had to do in order to build Scarlet and Kylan, and the Secret Society of Keyblade Wielders. So is this like the new, I guess, masters of the city in similar fashion to the Foretellers? Yeah, very interesting stuff. We know there's a headquarters of sorts, and obviously there is a new group that resides within the Scarlet Castle, as we see a few panning shots of the castle itself in the trailer. But Sigurd mentions that he had to report back to HQ on his little comm device. We couldn't really notice that in Union Cross due to the art style, but within the trailer we see the player character activating like a little Bluetooth comm device. So they had like Bluetooth comm devices back then, crazy. But yeah, there's a headquarters of some sorts, and Sigurd is part of this headquarters. We'll learn more about that too. There are two systems. One is a story mode where you advance through quests, and the other is a walking mode like Pokemon Go. So Union Cross had a story mode, and then there were a bunch of other modes that you could kind of dip into. But in the sense of the other mode, we've got walking mode, so like Pokemon Go, you can kind of just run around and explore. I think that will further integrate the whole augmented reality side of the game. I do hope for the story mode of the game, though, it is going to include some kind of cool scenarios, like proper Kingdom Hearts scenarios to a certain degree. I understand they can only do so much because it's on a mobile phone, but from the looks of things, like the encounters, it's like, you know, you walk in the street and then you come across a Heartless and you fight the Heartless or whatever in the small circular arena. It's quite confined. So it's kind of going to be interesting to see how the story mode actually works. I don't think we're going to have like full-blown, full-scale levels. Maybe Scala will be the only type like that, because I'd like to imagine we can actually explore a little bit more of Scala. Even if we don't have that whole exploration side of like actually, you know, moving the character around and doing some platforming, exploring worlds, I honestly don't mind, so long as the combat encounters resemble that traditional Kingdom Hearts gameplay, like it's explained it's going to. That keeps me happy. That really honestly keeps me happy. At least when we look towards the story side of things, like in regards to cutscenes and whatnot, they'll likely be voiced. This is a proper 3D Kingdom Hearts game that seems to be running on Unreal Engine using Kingdom Hearts 3 assets, except they just look a little bit worse, obviously. But it means that like the cutscenes are going to be a little bit more engaging than the ones we got in Union Cross. Can you imagine if like the Union Cross cutscenes were proper full-fledged 3D voice-acted cutscenes? My god, it would hands down be one of the best Kingdom Hearts stories. I mean, it already is, honestly, but with a proper 3D formatted cutscene setup, it would instantly be probably one of the best. As fans can imagine, Nomura doesn't particularly like AR games. He also doesn't want to walk and knows players wouldn't be receptive to it either if it were required. So he made it possible to play the game in the comfort of your own home. And to add on to that piece of information, we have a question and answer here from the Famitsu interview. The game seems quite challenging with a focus on action-packed battles that can be enjoyed in multiplayer, as well as the addition of location-based game elements utilizing AR technology. You say that you can move around without actually leaving the house. Do you mean the character is the one who can do the moving? Nomura goes on, yes, there's a street view in Google Maps, isn't there? You can just tap on the place you want to see and it'll take you there. I imagine Kingdom Hearts Missing Link to be just like that. So suppose I wanted to go to Okinawa on foot. You certainly could, but it'd take quite a bit of time to get there. By using points, you can teleport immediately to the place you want to go. So if you don't want to spend the points, you can go out and walk around by yourself. It's up to the player, correct. So absolutely bless this, because again, as I was saying, not everyone's going to be into these real-life augmented reality type games. We actually have to leave your house in order to engage in the gameplay. You're going to be able to use these points that will allow you to instantly teleport to anywhere on the map to go straight to that location as you play a character, rather than having to go out physically yourself to get to that location. I think we've seen a little bit of this with the player character exploring what looks to be the real-world map, just with that Scala skin over all of the buildings. That's the gameplay of the player character being able to explore the map, rather than us as the human being going out into the real physical location. And like, obviously as the player character, you're able to pull off parkour in similar fashion to Kingdom Hearts 3, meaning you can run over buildings. We're not out here doing that as real human beings. I mean, some of you guys might be if you're that dedicated, but for most of us, it's not Mirror's Edge. So it's going to give players some choice. If you want to engage in the real life side of the game, you can. Or if you want to be lazy, which I think for the most part I will be, although again for content, I think I'll go and trek out into a mountain, take down some Heartless. The option is up to you. It will come down to how you accumulate these points though. I hope they are easy, and I further hope that they're not locked behind some kind of paywall. I think it'd be a little bit slimy to be like, alright, if you pay $5, you don't have to leave the house, or like $10 or something like that. Honestly, I can see it happening, but fingers crossed it won't happen. There's a base room where you can go out into the world map and explore to collect pieces, which can be set onto your Keyblade to enhance abilities. Pieces take the form of figurines like what you see in the trailer when the player uses an ability. So those little trophy things that we see that are obviously of like the different Kingdom Hearts characters that all pertain to different abilities in very similar fashion to the medal system that we had in Union Cross. Those are the things that you'll be able to come across and collect when you go out and explore, whether from the comfort of your own home or out into the real world. So I'd say as you defeat different Heartless and stuff, you'll be able to receive some of these pieces as drops, pieces of loot, or maybe by just simply exploring and going around the place, you'll randomly come across these, maybe in like a treasure chest or something. It's good to know though that you're going to be able to obtain these by just playing the game. I still have a very strong feeling though that some of these pieces will likely be stuck behind a paywall, meaning that they will be microtransactions or, you know, the gacha side of the game where in similar fashion to like Union Cross, we had different banners, monthly banners, weekly banners, where specific medals were exclusive to that whole side of the gacha system. So I would say it'll probably be very similar here, but I only hope that Square Enix have learnt from the complaints that players had towards the whole pay-to-win side of Union Cross and the gacha system it had, and improve upon that for Kingdom Hearts Missing Link to make, you know, the whole free-to-play thing viable. Start quests from the base and complete them to advance the story. Quests and world map are the main two components of the game. That's sort of just reiterating the two systems that we have in Missing Link, but the exploration mode and then the story mode. But this constant mention of the base, I wonder if it's actually the building where we see Brain standing on the balcony of, because it makes me think that no doubt the player character, the character you play as in, are able to create. Because no doubt I'd say the player character will end up befriending Brain and will join up with Brain. It could be this whole situation of like, Brain is trying to maybe overthrow these new leaders in Scarlet Kylum, and that the Secret Keyblade Society is this new Keyblade group that is formed by Brain, and you, as the player character, are one of the members. So the base is where this Keyblade Society hangs out, being with Brain and the rest of your squad, which is everybody else playing. And that Brain is the leader of which. And we got two more things from the Famitsu interview. We see Brain in the trailer for Kingdom Hearts Missing Link. Is he the main character? No, the main character will be the player themselves. It's a create an avatar game like Unchained Key. So yeah, you're going to be able to, once again, create your own character, which is a really unique thing for Kingdom Hearts. Swag them up, no doubt. We saw a few different outfits in the trailer that the player characters are wearing, so I'm looking forward to that side of it. It was kind of a neat thing with Union Cross and Unchained Key, creating your own Kingdom Hearts character and swagging them out. But this time around, I think it's going to be a little bit cooler because it's in a 3D setup. Your character will obviously have some type of involvement with the unraveling story that goes along, just like with what was going on in Union Cross, where in the end the player character was sort of wrapped up with all of the transpiring drama that was kind of happening. So yeah, expect the same thing. And lastly, if the field is linked to the real world, does that mean we won't see any Disney worlds in the game? We're experimenting with a variety of things, but depending on timing, the terrain and atmosphere will be partially based on Disney World motifs. In the early stages of development, we covered the entire map with all sorts of motifs, as though it were a skin. But it seems like overkill, so we're trying to balance things out. This is pretty much meaning that like different areas of where you go to in the real world will be based after different Disney worlds. In the trailer, we did end up seeing, what was it, the Kingdom of Corona, which was quite interesting. So let's say, for instance, you go to a park in your local city. It's likely that that park could be the Kingdom of Corona, because the Kingdom of Corona is a forest-type environment. It seems like they're trying to figure out, though, how exactly the Disney worlds will be integrated into Missing Link, and that skin system might not actually be in the game, but one way or another, we can expect Disney worlds to appear in some form. So however guys, that is all of the information we currently have for Kingdom Hearts Missing Link. Do let me know your extended thoughts on the game. I am, again, just very excited for this. I'm crying because I know I won't be able to try out the beta this year. It is going to be region specific, and no doubt my country being in the middle of gat dang nowhere probably won't be included. However though, I will be keeping you guys in the loop towards everything that comes out towards this game. But with all that being said, dudes, I'm Cynical. Hopefully having a fantastic day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.